This is a Squiz podcast. We're your shortcut to being informed.
Squiz Kids!
It's your daily news fix. Fun, free, fresh.
Hello and welcome to Squiz Kids Today, your fresh take on what's happening in the world around you. I'm Bryce Corbett. It's Friday, August 6. In Squiz Kids Today, Victoria's 6th lockdown, Alaska's chatty whales, Australia on the brink of gold medal record, and staying in a Star Wars hotel. That's what's making news, kids style.
The lowdown.
And just like that, Victoria has rejoined the club that no one wants to be a part of, the Lockdown Club. With the emergence of a COVID cluster in a Melbourne school over the past few days, Victorian Premier Dan Andrews announced a snap 7-day lockdown yesterday, which started at 8 p.m. last night. It's Victoria's 6th lockdown since the pandemic began. Lockdown 6.0. And so for all of Victoria, it's back to staying within a 5-kilometre radius of your home, wearing masks when you go outside, and the biggie, throwing yourselves, with unbridled joy no doubt, back into the fun that is home learning. That strange look on your parents' faces? It's called a middle distance stare, as they contemplate the joy that now awaits them. With Victoria joining southeast Queensland, Greater Sydney, and now also the Hunter region of New South Wales in lockdown, there's not much left of the east coast of Australia that's not in lockdown, that dastardly Delta. Luckily though, we Squiz Kids have one another's back, and don't forget to get involved in our Home Learning Herograms program. Details in today's shoutouts. An expression you might have heard a bit about on the news last night is closing the gap. It refers to government efforts to make life better for Indigenous Aussies. Because, for lots of very complex reasons, their lives are often significantly worse off compared to most other Australians. One initiative announced yesterday was a plan to build 3 new boarding schools for Aboriginal kids in remote communities. Remote communities are small towns that are located a long way away from big cities. It's hoped the schools will help Indigenous kids get a good education, something that most of us take for granted, while still living close to their family and on land their ancestors have inhabited for many thousands of years.
Spin the globe.
Each day we give the world globe a spin and find a news story from wherever it stops. And today we've landed in Alaska, the beautiful wilderness state of the United States of America, where humpback whales are having a party. What's spurred on the whales of Alaska to break out the party hats? The fact that they've got the pristine waters off the Alaskan coast all to themselves. Pristine is a fancy word for clean and pure. Because Alaska is so spectacular, it's really popular with tourists, and that means its waters are usually crowded with cruise ships and heaps of smaller whale-watching boats all thundering along, crisscrossing the water, and in the process, creating quite a racket for the sea creatures under the water. But because COVID has shut down travel to a large extent, the whales have the water all to themselves, and they are making the most of it. Whale researchers have found whales are spreading out across Glacier Bay and having long and involved whale conversations across distances of up to 2 kilometres. And while previously they kept their whale chats brief because there was so much noise around above them, now they're chatting like your nana does when she gets near a phone. Whale chatterboxes. It's a thing.
Sport time.
If you were going to pick the Olympian who delivered Australia its equal best gold medal haul in history, you perhaps wouldn't have chosen skateboard champ Keegan Palmer. The 18-year-old from Currumbin in Queensland, while a seriously skilled skateboarder, is super chill, as skateboarders are. But what wasn't super chill was his awesome effort in the park skateboarding event yesterday. That was seriously impressive, as were our men's K2 canoe sprinters, who also brought home gold, helping to lift Australia's gold medal tally at these Olympics to 17. If our women's beach volleyball team pull off a gold medal performance today, we'll have won more gold medals than ever before. In Athens in 2004 we won 17, in Sydney in 2000 we won 16, and in Beijing in 2008 we came home with 14 gold medals. Meanwhile, it was a silver medal for the Kookaburras last night, our men's hockey team losing the final to Belgium in a nail-biting shootout, and a bronze medal for Aussie diver Melissa Wu. There's a link in today's episode notes to Keegan's sweet ride.
Pop Culture Corner.
I know it's borderline cruel to talk about holidays when half of us are in lockdown and no one's allowed to leave the country, but here's a holiday idea that sounds out of this world. Details were released yesterday about the Star Wars Galactic Star Cruiser, a hotel and role-playing experience that Disney is opening in America next year. Although it's on dry land, the Star Cruiser is being built to feel like a spaceship. Guests will enter through an airlock, have a view of space from their cabin, and spend 2 days mixing with new and familiar Star Wars characters. According to Disney, families will have the power to choose their own adventures. Will you follow the rule of the First Order, or join the Resistance in a secret plot? Or maybe just leave the kids to it and settle in with room service. Lightsaber training is, of course, included. So are meals and admission to Galaxy's Edge, the Star Wars-themed Disney World experience. It all comes, though, at a pretty hefty price. Over 8,000 Australian dollars for 4 people for 2 nights. I wonder how much that is in galactic credits. There's a link in today's episode notes to the hotel website.
Time for the quiz.
This is the part of the podcast where you get to test how well you've been listening. Question number 1. What animals are making the most of the quiet in the waters off Alaska? That's right, they're whales, or humpback whales to be specific. Question number 2. Keegan Palmer from Currumbin won a gold medal for Australia in which Olympic event? Yeah, it was skateboarding. Question number 3. A new Disney hotel, modelled on a spaceship, has been inspired by what popular movie franchise? That's right, it's Star Wars.
Shout-outs.
It's August 6. On this day, 20 years ago, the World Wide Web, also known as the Internet, was made available for public use. And you thought it had been around forever, didn't you? It's also a Friday, and that means an extra long shout-out segment. So let's get in the weekend mood and crack out that birthday reggae tune. Hit it. And it's a happy birthday to these Squiz Kids celebrating a birthday today. Luke from Walpole, Hamish from Roseville, Harper from Ryde, Christian from Strathpine, Ava from West Wollongong, Jaden from Hammond Park, Cooper from Woodhill, and Oscar from Sydney. And belated birthday shout-outs go to Nikolai from Katoomba and Mia from Murrurundi. Not forgetting, of course, all those Squiz Kids celebrating a birthday over the coming weekend, and yes, there are a lot of you. Oscar from Shoal Bay, Oscar from Camaray, Will from Trangie, Georgie from DY, Lily from Campbelltown, Lachlan from Roos, Jackson from Canberra, Hugo from Lane Cove, Charlotte from West Wallsend, Willow from Harden, Josephine from Albany Creek, Josie and Caden from Albany Hills, Samantha from Foster, Xander from Randwick, Poppy from Kempsey, Finn from Murwillumbah, Valerie from Brunswick, Jackson from Ashmont, and lastly twins, Benjamin and Nicholas from Northbridge. Plus, because our friends in Victoria, Greater Sydney and South East Queensland are in lockdown at the moment, we're sending out home learning herograms. Sophie in Year 4 at Marayong Public School in Blacktown sends a herogram to her teacher Ms. Q, who is doing a fantastic job on Zoom calls. Also, a shout out to all the Grade 3 students at Bethany Lutheran Primary School in Raceview who have been instructed to listen to Squiz Kids every day as part of their home learning. Well, aren't you lucky? And a special classroom shout out to the Year 5 class at St John's Anglican College in Forest Lake, and a big happy birthday to their teacher, Miss Lazar. Don't forget, if you've got a birthday coming up and you'll want a shout out, or if you want a classroom shout out, or if you'd like to send a home learning herogram to your class or your kids, drop us a line at squizkids@thesquiz.com.au. Well, that's all we have time for. Thanks for listening to Squiz Kids today. We'll be back again on Monday. In the meantime, get out there and have a most excellent weekend. Over and out. Squiz Kids is proudly supported by the Judith Neilson Institute for Journalism and Ideas.
Squiz Kids!
It's your daily news fix. Fun, free, fresh.